Kim Kardashian is being slammed over a photo and, quote, toxic positivity. And I realized when you're a celebrity, you're just not allowed to like act like a normal person. You're not. You're not in any way allowed to live a normal life. She posted a photo, like a sunset photo from her high rise in Tokyo, or in Japan. It says, "Always look on the bright side of life, heart." And everyone's like, hey, shut up. Your life's always a bright side. And that kind of makes me think about, look, everyone likes to complain about celebrities because they're easy targets, right? Not realizing that there's plenty of evidence that shows us that celebrities commit sewer slide, as Mary would say, that they don't have perfect lives that are easy all the time. And in a lot of ways, they get no slack from normal people, because everyone assumes that because our problems might be financially, you might have problems that are related to money, right? And just because their problems aren't money, you assume that they don't have any problems at all.
There's an ancient curse that goes like this: I hope you get everything you wish for. And, when you hear it, it's kind of weird, but I do feel like there's some wisdom to that.
In what way?
In the way that if you get everything you wish for and yet you still have to deal with the human condition of like still wanting more.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what's next? Yeah,
I was watching an episode of something recently about this. I don't remember if it wasn't House of Cards, but a guy says, take it from somebody who's got more than enough. It isn't ever enough. And that's a curse for a lot of people, right? Like once your expectations kind of change. Like where I was 3 years ago, I was plenty happy. I wasn't doing well, but I was living healthily. By the time I'd gotten sober, I was financially not well off in any way, shape, or form. But your circumstances and perspective change, and a lot of times that's just the nature of being able to understand gratitude. And a lot of people these days have a hard time, in my opinion, understanding gratitude. Therefore, they would never be able to see it from a celebrity's point of view, that they might also have moments where they have to feel gratitude.
Yeah. I tend to think that we live in a culture of envy and like covetousness.
Yeah.
And part of it is the reality is money doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make you emotionally down. It doesn't make you spiritually fulfilled. It may give you a certain level of security that takes away some of the stress that other people have to face.
But then you have different stresses.
It's just different. I worked at this boarding school for a couple years, and we had a person come in who was like there to like give a talk on respect. And she talked about how she'd grown up in a rough background and stuff like that, and was basically not privileged. She's like, people in this school won't understand that. And I remember the admissions director being like, you don't know the students who go here. Like, yes, it's an expensive school, but we give out a lot of financial aid and
scholarships.
Also, even if the students whose parents pay full money, like full price, that doesn't mean their home life is safe and happy for them.
Yeah.
And I think there is an assumption that because Kim Kardashian, who, it's not like I'm her biggest fan. It's not like she does everything right. But the idea that because she gets to be in Tokyo when the rest of us have to be in our office jobs, therefore she shouldn't brag about it in a subtle way by posting a picture. Like,
people are
that's
probably
not anything. That's not really a fair assumption.
And people are probably still smarting over the time when she was like, if you're poor, just work harder.
Get up and work.
Get up and get a job, basically, is what she said. I think there's an inability or an unwillingness in our culture to believe that celebrities have problems of their own. But what I've learned is that, as your status changes, just new problems come up, right? Like the problems you had 10 or 15 years ago aren't necessarily more or, better or worse than they are now. They're just different.
And no one lives a problem-free life.
Exactly, right? Like what was it, what were you doing 10 years ago?
I think I was living... 10 years ago, probably living in my parents' hometown, working at a restaurant every day, trying to get my life back together.
So you had problems at the time. They were just different.
Yeah. I mean, I went into it was mental health. At first, it was like, how do I make enough money to pay rent next month?
Yeah.
Every month of my life, from the age of 19 to 36, 35, I was like, it's the 17th and I still need to make $600 and I don't know how I'm gonna. Dude, it's so stressful to have to worry about making money. I do agree with that. It's insanely stressful and distracting. Once those things are taken care of, it's like more about like society. I think about like, how can I help society? I'm not doing enough. I'm worried about the
But
global economy.
if you're Kim Kardashian, you've got kids. You have to worry about raising your kids. And
you worry about your safety constantly.
Your safety. You have to worry about your ex-husband who's in the news constantly, which makes your life more difficult. Like there's a lot of things.
At any moment, your children will find your sex tape. Like she's got some struggles.
She's got things to worry about. And I do think in a lot of ways, toxic positivity is one of the more annoying things.
But
in culture,
do we think this qualifies as a form of toxic positivity?
That's what they're. I mean, that's what the critics of
think?
her are saying. Not really. I don't see it that way. I just see it as like the unique perspective of somebody that most people just wouldn't be able to relate to because we're not in her circumstances. But then what's she supposed to do? Only post things that both she and you can relate to, which that leaves like what, food? Like you can eat the same foods technically. Like what do you have in common with them?
Her image is beautiful.
Yep.
It's a really cool image that she posted. Always look on the bright side of life. Nice sunset. You're not going to see that from the ground, so she's up high. But I mean, that she's up in a skyscraper in, where was that? Tokyo?
Yeah,
is that what you
that's what it said.
That probably people are like, come on, Kim.
I think of,
But she's not saying something negative. She's saying something positive.
well, I think of toxic positivity as when people are so sort of bent on saying everything is great in my life, everything's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm a grateful person, like just like outrageously pushing themselves to be so happy and so I don't know, other than the word positive, I'm not sure what to say, that they can't sort of look at their moments of weakness or maybe where they're insecure or struggling, and it becomes a way of avoiding painful emotions. I think of toxic positivity as being something that people do to never show weakness, but in some ways they cultivate wounds from it.
Yeah.
I think it's because in social media there is like a insulting brand of anything that you could potentially like that can be good, but there's always like the lowest common denominator influencer that just makes it look terrible.
Yeah.
Like for example, positivity. You could get one of these influencers that's just like, I manifested everything in my life and whatever. And by the way, I'm really big on manifesting, and I feel like some of the most successful people that are living today, a lot of them talked about like, I visualize it, I saw it exactly, and that's how it happened.
Just planning stuff though. Really?
No, I mean just an example that I can remember, Conor McGregor.
Okay.
When he won his first title, you could see him in the training room before the fight that he had, literally doing the step to the side and punching in the chin, exactly how it happened in the actual fight. And Jorge Masvidal, in his also famous moment when he knocked out someone quicker than ever, he was practicing that move. So I do think there's something
Do you think they would call that manifesting, or would they just call that training and practice?
So
and repetition.
Probably both, but
Yeah.
Connor said he visualized it and he manifested it. But also there's, a hot rich chick with rich dads,
Yes.
she's like, I manifested this. It's like, no, you inherited it.
Yeah, not exactly manifesting.
The same.
Yeah, that's not really the same thing. I do think that toxic positivity is something to watch out for, given that also because most of what you see online are the highlight reels of people's lives. And to be fair, some people just live more interesting lives than other people. Like my life is not super interesting, so therefore there's not a whole bunch of stuff to really post about. I'm not traveling to crazy places and stuff like that. I think I actually had a post that showed up like that one time. It said like, I would post something here, but there's nothing to post because my life is extremely boring.
But that doesn't mean your life isn't fulfilling.
No, not at all. I live an extremely charmed life right now.
Right.
That's the thing. It's just, but most of it's work, and the work, there might be a way that it could be translated into a manner that might be interesting to other people. But it's like that's not really the point where I'm at right now to do that. I've got other stuff I have to focus on, and in the end, it's only going to translate to a few people anyways. So I just don't see the need to do something like that. Now, if you're traveling, obviously that's a little bit different. You're outside of the realm of your daily experience, but for somebody like her, every day is outside of the realm of the average person's daily experience, so they wouldn't really understand that.
I heard this. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
I heard this term a long time ago that described Instagram as a form of microblogging. You have this one picture at the time. Now you can do a bunch, and you put up a caption, and that's sort of documenting a moment in your life. You're kind of grabbing the snippets, and it's for some people will even say it's like a photo album for them. Where you say like, oh, this is when this happened, and here we went to this event, and now I'm celebrating this holiday or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think for some people, they feel like their life isn't worth posting because it seems so mundane, but it doesn't make it less special. It just means that like it's quieter in a way.
The best social media personalities find a way to take average things and make them interesting to watch. My favorite thing, I'm not even kidding right now. You know what I've been watching the most on YouTube Shorts lately?
Mormon mommy bloggers.
Basically, no.
But I'm serious. That's a whole category.
Brick Lane.
Nice.
Brick Lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like dudes, like literally just a guy who talks about like brick.
That sounds like a euphemism for something.
I know, right? But it's not. It's
Right. It's like
bricks,
you guys don't
huh?
understand. I have this secret hobby.
or just any type of thing where you have a profession, cabinetry, things like that.
Oh, I love that.
People
Woodworking?
who are good at a very unique skill set that seems bland on the outset, but once you get into the details, because minutia is what makes life interesting, right? And they explain how, like, or the ones where like they're doing like they're cutting corners for rooms, they're cutting wood for corners in rooms, and they're doing all the math to figure it out, and it makes no sense to me, but I find it interesting because I like to see people be good at something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So they say here, it says, these are the people who are criticizing her. Again, I think these are lowest common denominator critiques. It says, one person says, that's easy about her quote. That's easy when you have millions of dollars, LOL. And another person added toxic positivity. And then somebody says, bro, your whole life is on the bright side. Did you really need to say bro? Like, isn't that kind of rude?
You know what? So I've been working in marketing for 10 years and predominantly social media. So I've had the accounts and I've managed the accounts of a bunch of people and a lot that are prominent and get a lot of messages. So I feel like when you reach a specific level of fame, it's just so much input either way, positive,
you have to
negative,
take it out.
neutral.
You can't look at
it
it.
means nothing.
Yeah.
It's literally noise.
That's how, like, even for our channel, I can't read the comments. I it's too much. Like, it's like we'll get 10,000, like, because we had a video that, like, that short, like, we had a short recently that did really, really well, got like over 1 million views, and the amount of comments, I'm like, I'm not going to read that. Like, it's like, it's just too much. And even if you find good there, are you going to respond? You're actually at a disadvantage there because they can comment anonymously, right? So once you do get to a certain size, and Kim Kardashian is obviously one of those people, she doesn't read any of that.
No,
She says she
maybe.
does. Maybe she does, but it's not like she has the time to read all of it.
Probably because it's really part of her business. She doesn't use social media the way, you know, we might use social media. It's a extension of our personal platform. It's part of her business platform, so she probably has someone who full time is logged in, checking her comments and, you know, responding to whatever and making sure her branded posts go up on time. Like, it's not a direct connection to Kim the way people might perceive it to be.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that and have trouble realizing that at a certain, like, maybe there should be warnings on platforms that say, like, this account is not run by this person or this.
The only time I see that is on, like, children's Instagram accounts. Like, if you have, like, a kid who's famous on YouTube, it'll be, like, run by mom and dad or whatever.
That's another one that I'm not
like
a
another
huge fan of, is, like, you know, kids with Instagram accounts that their parents run. It always feels exploitative.
I just can't imagine like turning 15 and realizing like, oh wait, all these images of me are on the internet.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Be wild.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.